Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. I have never directly spoken on this issue, and I have never broached this topic in such a direct manner. I'm talking about white supremacy. White supremacy is defined as a racist ideology centered upon the belief and promotion of the belief. Make sure you understand that part. It's the promotion of the belief that continues the belief that white people, that these are European people, and it's not even European people. It is specifically people from the British Isles and Northern Europe, that's the Scandinavian countries, are superior in certain characteristics, traits, and attributes to people of other racial backgrounds, and therefore white people should politically, economically, and socially rule non-white people. Now, a lot of you are conditioned to think that when somebody mentions the word white supremacy, you think of Irish guys in white sheets, Scottish and Irish guys in white sheets with holes in pillowcases over their head and while marching down the street or burning crosses. That's not white supremacy. That's idiocy. White supremacy are the white Jews in Hollywood making a movie and putting white people as Native Americans, white people as ancient Egyptians from Africa, white people as creating electricity, white people as creating the sciences, white people as being the first people to the Americas, white people. I mean, it just goes on and on. Now, I played a game, live action role play called Vampire the Masquerade. You may have heard of the video game, but this was live action, so we actually acted this out. In the lore of the Vampire, one of the features of the lore of the vampires is that the vampires had it that they were the cause of World War II. They were the cause of World War I. They were the cause of people discovering electricity. They were the cause of the Great Wall of China. They were the cause of the pyramids. And this is white supremacy. That somehow barbarians running around in loincloth somehow discovered electricity 2,000 years later than the rest of the world, actually. There is almost no discovery in Europe that wasn't discovered somewhere else first. Your own language is not even from white people. Your language, your letters, your language, the way you speak is from non-white people. This is how ridiculous this entire ideology is. Now, here is what I want to get across. It is the perpetuation that white people have somehow created this great society, that white people are so much superior, are so civilized. It has been white people time and time again who have been the barbarians. It is only recent history that white people have stopped killing each other on a massive scale, meaning country to country. The rest of the world didn't do that. It's only until you have the inclusion of this white ideology like communism or socialism that infects the non-white areas that you get massive slaughters in Russia. I don't know if you consider Russians white or Asian. Massive slaughters in Russia, massive slaughters in China, massive slaughters in Cambodia, and all that. This is adopting the ideology that a white man promoted, and it goes to these other areas, and it results in just slaughter upon slaughter upon slaughter. And it's encouraged by the government of the United States since we've been alive, encouraged by the European powers, the entire thing, the exodus, the mass exodus, what you call slavery, of millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of Africans out of Africa, hundreds of millions being slaughtered along the way in the transatlantic slave trade. This is why Africa isn't running around in flying cars today. They have cities just like New York, just like Paris. I saw an idiot make a joke, and he made a joke video, and he says, we're going to paint a little African village, and we're going to paint the grass huts. Do you know that people today pay top dollar for a thatched roof in Great Britain? Millions of dollars. And they are bemoaning the fact that you don't have artisans who even know how to take care of a thatched roof, nor even build a thatched roof today. Africans live in cities just like New Yorkers. There are no thatched roofs. And if you find a thatched roof, more than likely they're going to charge you hundreds of dollars to go to that area in Africa because it's a tourist trap. All of these pictures you see of Africans in the lovely African cloths and the crowns and the jewelry and what have you and the painting, they make big money off of tourists coming over there. But Nairobi is not thatched roofs. Nigeria is not thatched roof. Ghana, Guinea, Morocco, not thatched roofs. Nigeria is the #1 economy in all of Africa. Do you think they're running around in thatched roofs? And why are they the #1 economy? Because of the oil trade. So do you think that they go and find an oil pond and dip their bucket in it? I mean, how stupid can you be? It's this continued perpetuation of this. And here is the crux of this video. I want to call out all of these stupid channels, Vsauce, all of the PBS channels, the brothers, I forget their name, the brothers who make their various channels, the Crash Course in History. And it's all white supremacy. That's all it is. That's all it is. It is so ridiculous and so far from the truth, but this is what white people tell each other to make themselves feel good. You don't actually want to know history. You just want to think that white people started everything. And in reality, white people didn't start everything. Well, Shakaama, why are all of the black neighborhoods a cesspool? This is why black neighborhoods are a cesspool. Because of white supremacy. And I don't mean that. We the victims. We be the victim. Here's the reality of the situation. The politicians tax the black areas the most in all of the city. And then they take all of those tax dollars and they put it into maintaining the streets of the white areas. Why do the white areas have nice palm trees, working street lights, perfectly level sidewalks, blacktop, reflective painted liners in the streets, perfectly placed? Because they put all of the tax dollars into the white area that they have gutted out of the black area. That is the truth of the matter. And then you have these idiot white people go, but look at their neighborhood. It's falling apart, Shakaama. Look at their well, Shakaama will tell you this is what the politicians do. They literally gut and steal. Taxation is theft to begin with. For all of my libertarian brothers, you need to wake up and smell the coffee. You already know that taxation is theft to begin with, but this is kicking a man while he's down, pissing on him, throwing lighter fluid on him, and lighting him. And then some idiot white person coming along goes, see, you're burned. It must have been God. You must be cursed by God. No, it's the white man. It's the white supremacy at its highest form. Taxing the black area, taking all of the tax dollars and putting it in the white area. They've done that for centuries. Let's talk about the history of India. They did the exact same thing with India. The British Empire. They took the cotton and other raw materials, went over, processed it, in England or some sort of European place, and then went back and sold them the finished product of their own stuff. And so then the raw material, they pay pennies on a dollar, and the fine goods that they came back with, they charged through the nose for. And this is the same exact thing that's going on in the black areas around the nation. And then you have Mexicans and Jews and Italians and the Asians all saying, what's wrong with the black area? What's wrong with the black area? Well, you stupid idiot, you keep voting in these white supremacists. Oh, you can't call them white supremacists because they talk about we need to be tough on crime. Meanwhile, the police are shooting the damn men out of it's Africa too, all over again. The police are shooting the black men out of the black communities, shooting them, incarcerating them. Oh, well, they shouldn't do crime. Well, you see, there's something about that. The thing is, if you arrest black men 10 times more than everybody else put together, which is an astronomical number, and you have an incentive to throw anybody in jail, it has already been documented that you have stuff like trumped up charges, throwing innocent people in jail. But for some reason, you all can't understand that they do that to black people. I am a sophisticate. I am of the middle or upper middle class. Period. I see this firsthand. I'm not talking about something that I see in the news or blah, blah. You know, has this happened to me? Yes. Yes, it has. I, of course, have 50 lawyers if police come after me. And I, of course, open my mouth and the police back off because, oh, this is one of them uppity Negroes. We can't handle this. This is way too much paperwork. And I might come out at the other end without a job, without pension, without anything, investigated, and maybe possibly jailed for messing with this Negro here. Leave this Negro alone. White supremacy is the perpetuation. And yes, at the very center of it are the white Jews. This is not anti-Semitism because we're actually talking about white supremacy. So you don't victim blame, right? Just so you understand what's going on. The aggressor is the white Jews. Why? Because they control the media. They control the narrative. They control everything. I'm talking factually. I don't hate Jews. I have Jewish friends. In fact, one of my most emotional moments is recalling my Jewish friend that died in his sleep. And when they came to tell me, I was inconsolable. I didn't even want to talk to anybody for a couple of weeks. So no, I'm not anti-Jewish. I'm telling you what's factual. Now, here's the thing. Not every Jew is in on it, right? Everybody wants to jump on the bag and say, oh, you're being anti-Jew. No, not every Jew is in on it. You know who I love? Who I absolutely love? Orthodox Jews. They have it right. Creating a fake area for Jews to live in is not equal to God will bring us back home to the Jewish homeland. Do you see how that goes? Do you see how that goes? If I say God has anointed me and he has created a place for me here on earth that is sacred and holy and it's holy ground, a United States president and a Russian president and a German chancellor and a British chancellor getting together and say, okay, we're gonna put Shakaama over here. That is not God. And for all of you people that says God works in mysterious ways, no, God doesn't work in mysterious ways through politicians. Sorry. If God's going to do it, you will know that it was God. All of this stuff about the moon didn't show, the sun, the earth didn't move for 3 days. That's apparent. No politician passed a law to stop the sun. You either believe what you believe or you don't. This is what I really can't really hate in people. You either believe what you say you believe or you don't. This is why I hate feminism, because because they have all of the sheep who run around talking about feminism as equality when in fact it is not. You either believe it's equality and you get rid of this whole women are more nurturing and therefore they get the children 100% of the time. That is a bald-faced lie. Why? Because we know that crack whores exist. Please make these logical leaps of what I'm talking about, because obviously when I go into explaining them, people get annoyed and okay, so all the stupid people are going to be left behind in this video. Crack whores exist, ergo women are not 100% nurturing all the time and should not get the kids. Either you believe in equality or don't. Now, not all Jews are Zionists. And the Zionists are the one who are perpetuating white supremacy. In the very nature of being a white Jew by itself is racist. Oh, yes, it's racist. Because you are now trying to, and there have been people who try to argue with me. Oh, no, these are white people, regular white people, not Jewish. Oh, no, those are the Hebrews. There is not a drop of Hebrew blood in any of those. Are Khazars. The white Jews that you see running around are Khazars. And because the Khazars are who they have been on the forefront of white supremacy from day one. It was the Khazars that started all of the central banking and all of that mess and the Federal Reserves and the Rothschilds and all that sort of stuff. This is deep. This goes deep. This is something that these people are not playing with. They're playing for keeps, and black people are running around talking about we need equality. We need civil rights. We don't need civil rights. It's about money, honey. You need to get your money in order. And I mean, as a group. I had somebody comment on one of my things saying, oh, that's super racist. I just saw an Irish group. Irish, not Scottish, not white, Irish. And you have to be Irish to be in that group. So if Irish people can have a group, if Sicilian people, just Sicilian, not Italian, Sicilian people can have a group, black people in America can have a group. Please be silent if a black person says we need a black group. Please be completely silent. Because more than likely, the person speaking up is going to be a liberal, a progressive, who's going to say, you don't need a group. You just need to vote Democrat. You need to vote. I mean, like they're like the devil. And I don't mean like the devil, like the cute guy with the horns. I mean like black ooze creeping across the land, Armageddon. Literally murdering your children while telling you it's a good thing. Keep that in mind, black people, anytime you go vote Democrat. Why? Because most of the major cities are controlled by Democrats, and black people are catching hell in all of those major cities. It's the perpetuation of white supremacy. The reason I never have broached this topic directly is because of all of the nuances that are involved in it. You have the Illuminati over on one side, which is white supremacy 401. You know, that's senior level, masterclass white supremacy. Then you have the politicians' white supremacy, and that goes from the federal level all the way down to your county, all the way down to your agencies. That's white supremacy 301. That's your junior level white supremacy. Then you have the whole Jewish cabal stuff that's running Hollywood, that runs all the commercials and blah, blah, blah. That's sophomore level. Then you have feminism white supremacy. Oh, you didn't think feminism was white supremacy? Yes, it is definitely. Anybody that promotes the destruction of the marriage of black people to each other is white supremacist. Peep this. Hearken to my words. Listen to me. I don't know who would understand what I just. I said the same thing 3 times, right? And hopefully, some people will understand each thing. When a white man does not marry a white woman, the white woman is fine. The white man is fine. they can end up making millions of dollars. And we're not talking, and I'm not talking about, oh, that's 1 in a million people. I'm talking about it's quite common. There are a ton, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. There are millionaires in almost every city, right? Every city. I'm talking about even small ones. So it is not rare to be a millionaire. All you need is $1 million, right? And if you have a business and you take home some of the pay of the business, you're a millionaire. It's very easy to do. However, looking at data, looking at stats, looking at information, this is only accomplished in black people if they are married. Conversely, if white people get married, they have all of the things that the men going their own way have complained about. However, conversely, you do not have the same thing. This is by data. This is by information. You do not have the same thing with black people. You don't have a reduction in wealth like white people getting married to each other because the white woman 70% of the time will file for divorce. It's outrageous. It is the nature of the younger generations. This is really put upon the shoulders of the older white women to get their younger white women in shape because you are dying off. Serious business, you're dying off. This is not a joke, you're dying off. This is not some sort of science fiction movie. You're dying off, they already know it. They already know it. This is why they're importing Mexicans into the country. You do not have the same thing in black marriages. You have nowhere near the divorce rate, nowhere near the custody nightmares. And when black people get married to each other, they become richer. Everything that you thought about marriage, black people are about 20 to 30 years or even 40 years behind every curve. So basically, black people are still living in the 1950s. If black people get married to each other, they become richer, right? Two income household, the whole 9 yards. So this is why I keep harping on black people should ignore feminism and black people should ignore MGTOW. Because you're doing it right. As far as our marriage rates go, fantastic rates. We have great rates. A very low divorce rate. Do not listen to the mainstream media. Do not listen to any feminists. Do not listen to any MRA. Do not listen to any MGTOW. They are all lying to you. And if they're not out and out lying, they're lying by being ignorant of the actual facts. Meaning they don't have the raw data. I have the raw data. I went and looked for the raw data. Any group telling black men to not marry black women is a white supremacist. I'm calling it now. By definition, even if he says he loves black people and he eats Thanksgiving with his black family friend every time, he's white supremacist by definition. What does that mean? If I shoot, it's like the German officers in World War II. I was just doing my job. I don't hate Jews. You pull the damn plug, push the button to turn the gas on. I don't hate you. Some of my best friends, by definition, you are an anti-Semite. You're a white supremacist. By definition. What does that mean? That means if you do something that destroys the black community, you cannot then claim that, oh, but I love black people. You are destroying the black community. By definition, you are a white supremacist. And it's not a loophole. It's not an intellectual string. It's by definition. Just like that tank over in South Korea that ran over the little Korean schoolgirls. And they got in trouble and they said, well, we don't hate Korea. What, you murdered 5 schoolgirls in your tent. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't even matter what you think you said. It doesn't even matter what you think you feel in your heart. You murdered 5 innocent Korean schoolgirls in your tank. By definition, you are a murderer. By definition, you hate Koreans. By definition, if you are promoting the destruction of marriage in the black community, you, by definition, are a white supremacist. Can a black person be a white supremacist? Absolutely. White supremacy is an ideology. It is not a racial makeup. So all of these black preachers or black leaders or any of these black politicians who are siding with white supremacy are in fact promoting white supremacy. I didn't want to breach this topic directly because I know there will be a lot of butthurt people who are going to claim, I'm not white supremacist. Are you promoting the destruction of the black community? Well, we should all be equal. I'm sorry. The question is, are you promoting the destruction of the black community? Do you believe black people should not be together? That is white supremacy, point blank, end of story. Now, why is that? Because the reality is there are white communities. There are white subgroups, and there are white lobbyists. White. You did not invent electricity. You did not invent the damn airplane. You didn't invent most of anything. And your society is based on Native American society and African society. You've been told that white people had this white people have been murdering and slaughtering each other for thousands of years. Then all of a sudden they come over here and they based everything off of Native American society and African society. And now I know you're going to go, oh, no. We got that from France. Where did France get it from? France was very heavily involved in Africa. And they didn't just steal gold from Africans and slaughter Africans in their sleep and murder their babies. They also took all of their ideologies. Apparently, they didn't get bathing from Africa. I don't know what that's about. That was a joke, people. I'm poking fun at the French. I lived in France. I have leave to do so. Tell me, how could you come from literally slaughtering each other on this soil? The British slaughtered you. You slaughtered the British on this soil. How all of a sudden do you become we're enlightened white people because we're standing up? No, you just literally got done slaughtering them. In fact, while you were slaughtering, you were writing this whole Constitution stuff. In the midst of slaughtering British people, you were writing your Constitution. Where'd you get it from? Go read the documents. Native American. The Constitution of the United States is Native American. It is not a white document at all. Go read the documentation. This is what really just ticks me off. And what really ticks me off is when black people come to me and say, you don't know what you're talking about. First of all, speak English. There's not even an African language that even comes close to what you're speaking. So you need to learn to speak English correctly. I mean, let's call a spade. No racist pun intended. You, above all people, should know your own history. And finally, let me venture onto this topic just briefly. Yes, black Africans traveled the entire world before white people. Yes, that is completely and utterly true. You don't even have to do a big search for that. Yes, there were black Africans in the United States, as well as Asians living in the United States. We call them Native Americans, but for some reason we don't call the black people who lived over here Native Americans. And in fact, some of the very direct people, like the Seminoles, we don't even call them black. We say, oh, those, and then they put a picture of an Asian Native American instead of an African Native American. I mean, you have been bamboozled. Okay, moving on. It is also true that the transatlantic slave trade, the triangle that went from Africa to the Caribbean to New York City, where the Jews sold Africans into slavery, that existed as well. It was so prevalent that it was seen that the Africans would overtake the white people in population. So they stopped the influx of slaves from Africa completely. And that you could only buy a slave from those who already existed here. Now, did they enslave Native Americans who were African descent? I do not have information as to that. As far as I know, they did not. Why? Because, again, the Seminoles exist, where Africans would escape into their group, into their numbers, and never be seen before. Now, here's another truth. The Asian Native Americans would capture escaped slaves and render them back to the white settlers, or the white invaders, as they should be called. Because you don't settle somebody else's house. You invade somebody else's house, right? Let's call a spade here. They would also be paid for the heads of escaped slaves. So this is what the Asian Native Americans did too. So a lot of you claiming that, oh, I'm part Native American. Well, you might be part Native American. That might be true. That might be the case. And that's probably the case with most white people in the United States too, which makes it doubly confusing why they would then slaughter their relatives. But you shouldn't try and claim, you claim everything but Africa. This is what really annoys me about black people in the United States. These people slaughtered you just as much as a white man. Point blank. That's the truth. There's no hiding it. And there's no sugarcoating it. So please stop trying to claim Native Americans because you think that is something better than black or better than African. Now, are all black people in the United States from Native American stock? No. And I mean the Africans who came to the United States. I don't mean the Asians who came to the United States, to America or whatever, or where we want to call this land. No, that is not true. In fact, there are completely free people, like my family, who came here who were not part of Native American at all and were just simply Africans who came over, were completely free. And in fact, slavery wasn't even a thing until like 50 years into the country. And I'm talking about the country when it was actually formed and all that sort of stuff. So no, it wasn't the whole white supremacy stuff that we have today. It is worse today than it was some 60 years ago. And now there are black people who said that, old black people who say that, and a lot of the newer black, awakened black people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That guy's and you call each other names. You call each other names that the white plantation owners would call you to each other now. And I'm not talking about the N-word. I'm talking about all the other horrible words that black people use for each other. If anybody teaches you to call your brother anything other than brother, that's white supremacy. If you call your brother any other name other than brother, that's white supremacy. I told you I didn't want to do this video, but here you go. Here you have it. Here you have it. You all are so psychologically damaged, and it's by white supremacy. Now, is like somebody from Nickelback or somebody from Fall Out Boy, you know what I'm talking about, some skater, is he white supremacist? He might be a white supremacist, but he's not. He can't be racist because racist means you have power over the system. These are common definitions. Racism means that you have to have power over the system to effect change, to enforce your power over people. Racism is power over people. I will not hire black men. Black men can't even live here. Black men can't marry these people. That's it. Okay. So stop calling everybody racist. The word has lost all meaning now. Prejudice, bigot, Those are words you should be using. Are all white people, are all Jews white supremacists? No. No. Can the Vsauce people be white supremacists? Yes, and they are. There is no doubt about it. This isn't, I'm calling them names. This is factual. When you teach that white people did this A, B, and C, and it was white people, and it was Europeans, and it was Italians, and it was French. What? Where? You all were against colleges. Europeans were against colleges. Europeans were against learning, against it completely. Newton, all your people, Newton, Aristotle, all of those people studied in Africa. All of them studied in Africa. And in fact, one was put to death for spreading African ideology. We call that learning today. So one was put to death for spreading African learning. Go read it. It's in the history books. Go read it. You didn't come up with anything. White people aren't superior. In fact, I keep saying white people are late to the block. They're late to the party. And if you keep going, but the white countries are so, that's because they adjust their taxes. Why do they need so many Mexicans? So that they can tax the hell out of Mexicans and enrich its racism. It's stealing the labor and energy and money from one group and giving it to the white people. That you have to ask this question is frustrating. Your education system is so terrible. Now, for anybody who wants to get offended at anything that I say, I will see you in court. And I will rack up your lawyer fees to the point where you can't even pay your own light bill. That's a promise. That's not a threat. That's not a defense. That's a promise. I would love to take it to the Supreme Court if you can afford it. We can have finally white supremacy on trial. And I will call out any group who thinks that they're man enough to take me on. I have lawyers waiting. In fact, if somebody wants to suggest that I go after somebody, that'd be a great, leave a comment below. Hey, go after this group. All they do is white supremacy all day long. And I don't need Hollywood. I mean, this is such and so who writes movies, who in the movie has the inventor be white. Why do you think on Twitter they have people say, oh, in 20 years, Tupac Shakur is going to be in a movie and he's going to be portrayed by a white person? Because black people already know that white supremacy exists. This is all perpetuating this ignorance that white people have done something. I told you I didn't ever want to do this video of speaking directly to it. I'm a go along, get along kind of guy. But I just saw another one of these Vsauce or PBS channel videos, and I'm just like, my God. And you try to come off as being so smart and intelligent, and people believe your shtick that white people invented. Come on, get off of it. You weren't even around. I'm talking about white people as a race. You weren't even around. You weren't even thought of. How do you like your Persian alphabet? How do you like your Persian math? How do you like your Egyptian astronomy? How do you like your Moroccan baths and plumbing? Oh, no, the Romans no, they did not. The Romans got that from Egypt. The Romans were filthy, nasty, smelly, dying of disease. Let's go back to Europe. Let's talk about Europe for 1 second. Let's go back to Europe and how many people died of disease because they wouldn't wash. How many kings and queens died of disease because they wouldn't wash? They thought that you got sick from washing, so they did not wash. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show. I don't need any epithets from black people nor white people. If you want to debate, leave a thought out, because this is a long video, leave a thought out rebuttal, or if you want to compliment me, leave a thought out comment. Something well thought out. I mean, I'm just sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of having education and it's lost on the masses. I'm sick and tired of knowing that, in fact, white people didn't invent electricity. And I'm talking about invent. I mean, they are literally trying to teach you that before white people, electricity did not exist anywhere in the world. And that some guy off the top of his head said, oh, I know how I can do it. I got it. I'm white. I'm superior. So I understand electricity now. Here we go. And there are people who conspiratorially say, well, all of the leaders have all of the information from Africa and they've kept it a secret for all of these years and they're just slowly letting it come out. Why do we have spaceships now running around when 50 years ago we already had a NASA program, but we didn't have any spaceships running around? Well, I mean, I can't argue with that. It might be true. It might not. I can't argue with that. I know for a fact the Vatican has probably every book printed in the world. The Vatican, their library is under lock and key. They even keep holy artifacts that literally should be belonging to the public, but they keep it under lock and key in their quote unquote library. I'm not talking about your county library. I'm talking about there's almost like an entire underground city and it's under guard. Why do you need to guard a library? And I'm not talking about two guys at the front door. I'm talking about an entire security system. And of course, it's all environmentally controlled. So if somebody says they've stolen all of the African knowledge, they probably have. I 100% agree. Because I know what I know. From the little that I know that's possibly quite true. And finally, who does white supremacy really benefit? It only benefits the elite. It does not benefit these people in the sheets. It doesn't even benefit them. Because at the end of the day, you still have a black man who's sitting in a $2,000 or $3,000 studio with an Windows XP computer. I'm going to start a Kickstarter and ask people to help me out. And it will be an offer you can't refuse. It won't just be buy me a computer. No. Sitting in a $3,000 studio, being smarter than probably everybody at your KKK rally. Oh, and we're not talking about KKK rallies only have Jethros and Leons and Bubbas. I'm talking about KKK rallies with university presidents, politicians. Huh? Did you know that I think it's 60% of the House of Representatives is KKK? So we're not talking about they're stupid people. They're not all stupid people. But if white supremacy were real, I wouldn't exist. Chew on that. If white supremacy were real, Obama wouldn't exist. Cornel West wouldn't exist. Allen West wouldn't exist. Louis Farrakhan wouldn't exist. Wouldn't exist. Do you understand the ideology of white supremacy? That white people are so superior and everybody else is inferior. Shakaama could not exist at all. Would not be a thing at all if white supremacy were real. It does not benefit the idiots in the white sheet. White supremacy only benefits the people at the very, 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 very top. And as icing on the cake, white supremacy pits the idiot white people against all black people, be they smart, idiots, non-idiots. So it keeps the rats fighting, the peasants fighting. People got upset that I called them a peasant. Let me give you the stratification. There is literally serf, farmer, peasant. Now, peasant could actually grow to be rich and turn into a rich merchant. They would stop calling him a peasant and call him a rich merchant from then on. So that's where you're in. You're in the peasant category. You're not a farmer. Farmer was seen as being very low, and serf was a people who didn't even have a farm. Okay? Pitting us against each other over this racial stuff, that benefits the super, super duper wealthy white people. White people. This is their game against the other super wealthy Asians, super wealthy Africans, super wealthy Polynesians. This is their game. They want to control the world. But who opposes them? The super wealthy, all the other people. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show.